Good morning. My name is Rebecca Harmon. I am one of the practitioners here with CSL Greater Pittsburgh, and it's my pleasure this morning to bring you the Sunday lesson. My lesson today is titled Finding Our Refuge. I began writing a blog more than 6 years ago, sort of as a journal of faith. I wanted to document each time a blessing was bestowed, a prayer was answered, or a demonstration was realized. It's become in many ways a primer on the great goodness that is available to us when we walk the spiritual or the inspired path, as Wayne Dyer would call it. He said we were always walking in spirit. Each small blessing, each answered prayer, each demonstration realized has laid down for me another layer in my foundation of faith. No matter how small or seemingly insignificant, each time I step forward in the knowing that I am provided, my faith is strengthened. I know that regardless of the appearance of things, the expert advice, or the common knowledge, beyond the shadow of a doubt, I am aware that there is a power for good in the universe that is greater than I am and greater than any circumstance that I may face. And it is always working on my behalf. I know that I am never alone or helpless, that I am always provided. And I know these things because I have built this foundation of faith by practicing the presence and standing firm in the knowledge that the power that created me is in every moment sustaining me. It's a good place to be. It's a place of strength, certainly. But this strength and knowing cannot be purchased, cannot be stolen, borrowed, or acquired via some shortcut. It can only be attained through consistent, regular, and intentional application of ancient spiritual principles that have been taught across cultures and time. The peace that accompanies such a foundation of faith is available to all who are willing to put in the time and the attention, and certainly the intention, to spiritual learning. To those who are committed to practicing the presence every day in every way. It's simple, but it's not easy, as many others who've taught for many years before me have told us. And it's not easy because sometimes the world says, that's a bunch of baloney. One criticism that I will hear from skeptics pretty regularly is, if that stuff works so well, why isn't everybody in that group you hang out with living the lifestyle of the rich and famous? It's a good question. The doubting crowd is very rarely impressed with the many real demonstrations that arrive disguised as information and opportunities, avenues to our good. Their perspective is that if we can't manifest swimming pools and movie stars and mansions, that it's random luck and our spiritual practices are inconsequential. The point that they miss in that is learning spiritual methods of manifesting abundance are not about getting more stuff. They are seriously about spiritual evolution. There's a school of thought within teaching spirituality that believes and teaches that each of us here is on a spiritual mission, that we're here to evolve our souls. Learning the principles of spiritual abundance is one part of that journey, because real growth and expansion will never materialize in our lives if everything is easy. The metaphor of the butterfly as it emerges from the chrysalis is probably overused in spiritual teaching, but it's a very appropriate example, and it's one I'd like to share. I'm going to share a brief video here, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. From the human standpoint, certainly, it appears that these little critters are in need of some help. In truth, the action that they're taking as they struggle out of the chrysalis is critical for their survival, because as they struggle and maneuver, they are squeezing body fluid and hemolymph through their wings so that they can expand when they're finally free. A struggle-free emergence from the chrysalis would actually cripple them and prevent them from being able to fly. Leave it to Mother Nature to put a deep spiritual truth out there in the open for all of us to see. New York best-selling author Malcolm Gladwell has written a number of books. And in one of those books, David and Goliath, he wrote about the benefits of struggle. In the book, Gladwell challenges how we think about obstacles and disadvantages in life. And he offers a new interpretation of what it means to be discriminated against or cope with a disability, lose a parent, attend a mediocre school, or suffer from any number of other apparent setbacks. In fact, he outright suggests that a life that is too cushy stunts our ability to do great things. He seems to suggest that, like the butterfly, if we don't struggle, we will never fly. And think about it, if we were able to meditate for a couple days, chant, mumble a couple of prayers, and end up with the answer to all our problems, what would we learn? Deep spiritual evolution comes to us with every struggle, and each time we learn more and deepen our wisdom. This is one of the reasons that I'm critical for prosperity teachings that feature a millionaire. The whole point in learning to manifest spiritual abundance seems to be lost when that message becomes, you too can be a millionaire, which is how it comes across, even if that's not intentional. The person who has learned that they are provided doesn't worry about the balance in their checking account, how they're going to afford a new vehicle, pay for a new roof, have enough money to retire. They take to heart that second statement in John Randolph Price's 40-Day Abundance Journey that says, the divine presence that I am is the source and substance of all my good. Learning that we are provided and having a deep peace about whatever may cross our path starts with small demonstrations. Louise Hay called these the green lights in the parking spaces. Each time we demonstrate a parking space in a crowded lot, especially if we're running late, our faith is strengthened and we evolve a little bit more. Every time we apply the spiritual principles and our wants and our needs are met, we grow and we expand in our wisdom. In other words, the struggles that we overcome help to strengthen our wings so we can fly. It's not surprising to me that butterflies are often referred to as winged spirit. The lessons they teach are critical for our spiritual growth and evolution. Using these principles with great patience and faith takes practice. It's also much easier to recognize the good that's coming around when we are practiced at seeing good in all its many iterations. We begin with practice to understand how the spiritual aspects of life work. And many people certainly turn to religion and spirituality in the midst of a crisis. That's very human. The principles are better learned in daily life, however, when the crises that we face are smaller and much more manageable. Because we all face times when the appearance of things around us suggests that we are in over our head and very much alone. Early one morning recently during a sleepless period, my mind came back across a photo from a family vacation that we had taken in the Outer Banks a few years back. And I had taken this photo and added a quote from Emmett Fox to it. And that quote came to me. It was about 3:30 in the morning, 3:28 a.m. actually to be exact. And I had a very restless night fraught with a lot of angst and worry. And then I remembered this quote. It is not possible that you could ever find yourself anywhere where God was not fully present, fully active, able, and willing to set you free. I was immediately grateful for remembering this statement, and it made me think of times when people ask me, why are you so interested in this stuff? I'm interested in this stuff because it works. I have learned to tuck this truth and others into my subconscious knowing, so that I am able to tap into it when I find myself in a deep despair or in a dark night of the soul circumstance, and we've all been there at one time or another. I believe that spiritual warriors are not those people with the loftiest titles, the longest strings of credentials or initials after their names, or the most interesting spiritual toys and accessories. Spiritual warriors are those who, when in times of deep despair, remember the truth and can turn to it confident in the knowing that they are never alone. Right here and right now, no matter who you are, where you are, or what's going on in your life, you can start or you can upgrade your learning and application of spiritual principles. And you can do it from any time and from any place. Practice getting those green lights and those parking spaces and feel deep gratitude for them, no matter how small. Engage regularly in a calm knowing that all is well, regardless of what the circumstances around you seem to be. Read, study, meditate, pray, do yoga, walk in nature, read and study some more. And just remember that we should not be seeking out or even wishing for the easy way out of the chrysalis. The struggle is necessary if we want to fly. And so it is.